How we doing?
On?
That good.
Yeah, great.
Good.
You said when you were mic'd up this past week, first of all, Steph said he wasn't aware that you were mic'd up, so he voted for you. But he said you were talking to Boo. You said, I appreciate how patient you are. Can you talk about, kind of maybe give some context to that statement, and then maybe speak to the level of patience and how it's helped Keyshawn in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I was really referring to how patient he is in terms of, there's a lot of plays in a game where the ball doesn't come to a skill player. And there's only one ball and five guys out there on every play. And so sometimes there's, 20, 30 plays that may go by, and based on a number of other factors, circumstances, coverages, pass rush, whatever, the ball doesn't necessarily go your way. And I just, I was speaking to him, but I could say that about our entire group. They really have been incredibly unselfish, and I just think he's ready to go when you call something that has an opportunity to go his way, and then the defense plays a coverage that allows that to happen. And just wanted to tell him that I appreciate it.
What is it that's made him so effective on deep balls?
I think there's a number of things. I think number one, he runs hard on every play. And I think when you watch a guy in practice run like that and then accelerate down the field, and I think his long speed, has shown up over and over since the spring. Just the ability to eventually get past the defense, or to at least get even with them and have an opportunity to make a play down the field. I think he's strong, has a physical nature to his play, where if the ball is a contested situation, I think the quarterbacks feel confident that they're giving a guy an opportunity that's going to go up and fight for it and get it. And then I think he tracks the ball very well. That's it's kind of a, you don't talk about it a whole lot, but everybody just assumes all receivers can track the ball the same. And I mean, some of them can, some of them, do it a little bit better than others. But he certainly has had an opportunity to make some catches where the ball's going in different directions, different angle, and to run full speed with a defender near you, look back for the ball, have to adjust to it, and then have strong enough hands to complete the play. I think that speaks, to why he's been so successful.
It's fun for you guys. Your job's fun, but watching the mic'd up thing, it seems like you're really enjoying yourself. Or so you return to here New England. How much fun is it this season with the quarterback and the offensive group you have?
I love this. I love football. I love coaching here. Working for Braves. I've said this before, but I learn something every day, every week. It's just cool for me. It's just to watch that whole process, and the way he's really kind of spearheaded the vision that he has for our team and our staff has been great. And then just this group of players, they come to work every day with a great approach and great attitude. It makes your job fun. You're just winning is fun, but I think you got to have an opportunity to enjoy the process regardless of the outcome. If you don't do that, it's kind of hard. And I think I've learned over time that I got to do that more often, and not just tie it necessarily to the outcome of the game. So just trying to enjoy the guys, and we have a lot of fun at practice and the meetings, at walkthrough, and then hopefully on Sunday.
Josh, as play callers get hot, can you sort of we talk about if a player slowing it down. Is there a moment in the game where all of a sudden
I don't know look, they deserve the credit for whether the play works or not. I think that's been true my whole life. The players always deserve the credit for anything that goes well on the field. So I think as a play caller, sometimes you get things happen in a sequence where you feel like, okay, I hope this ends up on the left hash, so that this is the next call, and then it ends up on the left hash, and you kind of get, I don't know if hot is the right word or lucky. But maybe you find a sequencing of things that fit together nicely. And sometimes the way the ball bounces, the down and distance, the hash mark, doesn't necessarily lend itself to, that being a great call. Other times, it does. And so, again, I think there's a lot of circumstances to it that kind of, you're hoping it works in your favor. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
When it comes to Travion, just how much was that just game plan versus trying to get him out in space a little bit more on those toss plays?
Both. I think we've seen, I don't think it's a secret that he's fast, and he does some really good things with the ball in his hand. Just so happened that was kind of something that, we felt good about last week, considering some of the other circumstances and factors that were going on in the game. And I thought he made some really good runs. It wasn't just like, run around the corner and nobody there. I thought he had to make some nice cuts. I thought the guys were really blocking well in space out there and straining to try to finish plays longer than he was. We talk about playing longer than the guy with the ball. So I thought there was a lot of blocks being made in space down the field that helped him do that. And I thought he fought through some contact. So excited to see him, build on that and continue to grow.
Josh, league-wide, Josh, there's been a record number of fourth down attempts, teams going for it more than ever before. Have you seen that evolve over your coaching career?
A lot. Honestly, I remember when I first started calling plays, it was, fourth down was, unless you were like in a kind of that fuzzy gray area, the 38, the 42, 43 yard line, where a punt could go in the end zone and you gain 20 yards of field position. There was a lot of punting, in those situations. Now think through analytics and just the way the game has progressed and, people using different things to, I'd say find ways to continue to try to score, I think it has definitely changed, certainly, the way the game is being played now. It's fun. As an offensive coach, and we've had a couple examples where our guys, they know it's an opportunity to potentially be in a 4-down sequence. And so they know what that means. And so, if you get a 3rd down play and they're in the huddle and they know that they may have a chance to go for it if they get it to 4th and shorter, and then they actually have some success. There's been sequences where our players are like, get back in the huddle. We don't want to go off to the sideline, after the 3rd down play, which is kind of neat to see. So it's changed a lot of things for a lot of people. It certainly has.
Josh, how much do you feel like you have the answers to continue building what you want in the run game in the locker room right now versus even just some depth that you could add?
I think we have all the answers we need. Look, once training camp starts and, you don't count on anything, outside of what you have in the locker room, and you really don't need anything outside of what you have. And we spend all of the time, we have trying to figure out how to put our players that are here in great positions. The guys know exactly how we want to try to play. I think different parts of our offense, progress at different rates. And so whether it's the running game or the red zone or 3rd down or, deep passes, whatever it is, each one of them kind of is at a different point right now. We're not even halfway through the season, and I think there's still a lot of improvements to be made for us. I know that's what we're focused on, and we have the guys.
Josh, I understand you got to work with most of the guys before, like the guys you have on your offense. Is there anyone who's been kind of a pleasant surprise just with their progress or maybe something behind the scenes that's really been a little bit different?
That's such a hard question. I don't mean that a bad question. It's just such a hard question because you learn about a lot of these guys, new things about them each week, honestly. And that's the great joy you have in coaching is to try to teach guys, that maybe you haven't worked with before and watch them flourish and watch them grow and watch them improve. There's no greater reward for us as coaches than to see them have success on the field. So, that would be really unfair for me to say one person in one way or what have you, but I think there's a lot of guys that have really demonstrated the ability to work hard and get better, and you just love to see that.
Last question.
Drake mentioned that you've been challenging him when it comes to his cadence and also manipulating and moving defenders. I'm curious, why are those so important for you at this stage of the season, but especially going up against the safety defensive line group that you're seeing?
I don't know if he was referring to this week or just in general, probably just in general, because I've been challenged him. There's a long list of things that and challenging is a strong word. I think probably encouraging him to, do different, things. And that's that there, I would say the list is long for him, which is cool. We got a lot of things we can get better at. But I think there's so many different aspects to playing the position of quarterback. Throwing the ball is the one that everybody sees, and, you attach numbers to it and all the rest of it. But, learning how to practice the right way, pushing your teammates in different ways, because there's a lot of different, mentalities. There's a lot of different personalities that you deal with as a quarterback out there. Learning the pre-snap, there's a game that happens before the game, in terms of each play. So just maturing in that regard and trying different things sometimes is a really good way for a young player to try to make progress. You can't ever get better at something if you don't try it and practice and give it a shot. And then sometimes it's gonna, all right, it works, and then other times maybe it doesn't, but then you learn something from those mistakes. So yeah, he's really got a large appetite for making progress, and that's a great trait to have as a young player. Is not just happy with one or two aspects of his play. It's how can I get better as an entire quarterback and do the things that this position requires of you to be really good, And so I know we want him to reach his potential. I know he does too, and that's probably going to be a never-ending process.